President Trump is tying his unsuccessful bid for the Nobel Peace Prize to his efforts to acquire Greenland. He really did this. In a message sent to Norway's prime minister, which was shared with other NATO allies, primarily through their ambassadors, Trump said in part, quote, "Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace." CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman joins me now. Willie James, give us some perspective on this. It's not the only reason. Clearly, there are national security implications. The president's talked about that before. But this Nobel Prize snub seems to be an irritant the president himself is raising for public scrutiny.
Yeah, that's right, Major. And the White House confirming this afternoon the text conversation that the president had there with the Prime Minister of Norway. Now, setting that aside, the Nobel Peace Prize and the perceived snub that Trump believes that he deserves that prize, he's oftentimes talked about the strategic need for Greenland, the national security concerns that he has there, that somehow Russia and China will try to get their hands on Greenland and that it would be better protected in the hands of the United States. And we did reach out to the White House about this text exchange from the President of the United States to the Prime Minister of Finland. We did get a statement from White House spokesperson Anna Kelly that talks about the situation in Greenland and talks about the reason why the White House believes that it will be better served in the hands of America. And the statement goes on to say President Trump believes Greenland is a strategically important location that is critical from the standpoint of national security, and he is confident Greenlanders would be better served if protected by the United States from modern threats in the Arctic region. And then that statement goes on to say the president is committed to establishing long-term peace at home and abroad. We, of course, know that this rhetoric coming from the White House and coming from the president himself has certainly raised a lot of eyebrows and caused a lot of concern amongst NATO allies, amongst European nations. But the thinking here, at least from the White House standpoint, from those public statements, including from the president, again, setting aside that Nobel Peace Prize perceived snub, is that is strategically needed for the United States, whether it's critical minerals or it's a place where military assets can be placed. And I'll point out that the U.S. government already has access, wide-ranging access, the Danes note, in terms of being able to build military bases there on that Arctic island. So certainly the president not backing down from his message and his push to acquire Greenland despite the major pushback that he's receiving from European leaders.
Willie James, very quickly, on tariffs. That's also been injected into this conversation.
Yeah, that's right. That is certainly something that the president has talked about. He threatened it, and then over the weekend we saw a statement coming from the president that 10% tariffs will go into effect on February 1st on those 8 European nations that are pushing back against the president's plan. That will go up to 25% in June until a deal is made for the U.S. to purchase and acquire Greenland, Major.
Willie James Inman, thank you very much. Appreciate it. William C. Banks joins me now. He's professor of law emeritus at Syracuse University College of Law. Professor, it's great to have you with us.
Thanks
for my audience's benefit, is there a legal basis upon which the United States can forcibly or through financial transaction acquire Greenland?
Well, a deal is a deal, as President Trump likes to say, but by force, the short answer is no. The use of American troops to forcibly take Greenland would violate both U.S. law, the Constitution of the United States mainly, as well as international law, the United Nations Charter, and the North Atlantic Treaty, the umbrella document that holds European nations with the United States in mutual defense.
Professor, the administration regards the legal relationship between Greenland and Denmark as flimsy. That's a point of view. Does it have any legal basis?
No, it really doesn't. I think that the Danes and the Greenlanders have arrived at a satisfactory arrangement between this semi-autonomous region and Denmark, so that Greenland is indeed a part of Denmark, certainly according to Danish law, to Greenland law, and to international law. So I think that's a that's a weak reed upon which to build or find a flaw in their relationship.
And Professor, as Willie James Inman just helpfully pointed out, the United States has access to Greenland. At one point during the Cold War, it had 17 military bases. It decided on its own to reduce that number, 17 now to 1, a Space Force base there. So it has access. It has used that access before. It has had cordial relations with Greenland and Greenlanders over projecting military clout throughout that region. I still am confused about what this is all actually about.
I think many of us are confused because the arrangement that's been in writing for 70 years now that allows the United States to build bases, make defense installations, install intelligence equipment and personnel. In essence, the United States is allowed to do whatever it wants to do in Greenland as it is. We don't own the territory. We don't own its mineral resources. That may be part of what the president is driving at here. But we can do what we want to do on the island now based on long-standing commitments between the Greenlanders, the Danes, and the United States.
Professor, you're a student of legal precedent, but also legal tactics. What are the legal options for Greenlanders or the Danes?
Well, all indications are that the Danes and their treaty partners in the North Atlantic Treaty are going to hold firm and insist that Greenland is not for sale, that the Greenlanders view themselves as sovereign, that is, in charge of their own affairs. That's a view that the Danes respect. I think if there was a referendum in Greenland now about whether Greenland wished to become a part of the United States, it would fail miserably. It wouldn't be close. And I think the Danes and the rest of their European NATO partners are going to respect that view. And let's hope that the United States does as well.
Professor William C. Banks, it's been a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.